Thanks to the supporters of channel member Kenny Gray. Summer transfer window then, and a disappointingly small transfer budget based on how much I've grown accustomed to spending over the last couple of years. But worry not. This time tomorrow, as you're watching this, if you're watching it when the video first comes out, I will be in Barcelona. I'm there to do the match day vlog of the Barcelona versus Valencia game on Sunday evening, but I'm going to spend all day Saturday looking for these levers that they've apparently got to try and pull a few more so I can extend this transfer budget and buy a few extra players. It seems like an entirely reasonable plan. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 11 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, it is our season review and transfer special at the end of a season where I have personally won my second successive Champions League. We won it with Spurs last year. We've won it with Barcelona this year. The slight difference from last season, we're not just going to win it and leave like we did at Spurs. We are going to win it, stick around, do summer transfers, and then try and win a domestic league, because we still haven't won one. We've won 3 trophies in my career so far, the National League North and 2 Champions Leagues. It's a weird career. We need to start winning some league titles, and we're going to try that with Barcelona. So we need to add a few more pieces to the puzzle, but we did do a lot of that last year. This was our signings of the season from last year, and despite Sakuna coming in and getting 19 goals in 18 starts, Dennis Simon, who got so much criticism when he first arrived at Preston 2 years ago, has now made himself signing of the season at Barcelona in a summer where we brought in all these wonder kids and superstars. A 25-year-old 3-star goalkeeper is the signing of the season. And it's fair enough, we had no goalkeeper. Ter Stegen had retired the year before, and there had never really been, there wasn't any other goalkeepers anywhere at the club who were going to be able to do the job. So we needed someone. Simon was available, and he has done brilliantly. We were supposed to challenge for the no, we were supposed to qualify. See, this is why I don't understand. The fans are upset. The board seem happy, although they're only giving me a C+. We were supposed to qualify for the Champions League. We did it in style. Top 5 go into the Champions League. We finished second. Yes, we were 19 points behind Real Madrid, but we were also, 17 points clear of 6th place Villarreal. We qualified for the Champions League with ease. Never mind the fact we won the thing as well, which didn't even get me an A+. Only got an A for that. We don't worry about these other competitions, but the board not as happy with me as I would expect them to be. And like I say, the fans are a little bit grumpy about the whole affair. What we have managed to do is increase Barcelona's reputation, which in 1 year, a club like Barcelona to come in and increase their reputation, that should go on my CV. We've gone from 4.5 star to 5 star off the back of that Champions League win. Some of our revenue has dropped down ever so slightly, but it is only fractions. And this other stuff like competition prize money is on the way up. It seems like this is a money-generating football club, despite being desperately in debt. And we've sold over 1 million shirts over the course of the year. Gavi selling more shirts than anybody else. And this is the team of the year. And it's very rare to have a team of the year where every single one of them has got a green average rating, especially when it's a system I don't normally use. We've used wing play and gegenpress throughout all of Non-League to Legend so far this year. We've come into Barcelona, we've ticky-tackered, and it has immediately worked. It helps when you have world-class players like Pedri, Gavi, and De Jong to build the entire system around. But even so, I'm pretty chuffed that we've managed to make this system work as well as it has, right from the word go. So the team of the year was Simon, Balde, Lazarov, Araujo, and Koundé. De Jong with Gavi and Pedri in front of him. Torres on the left, Fati on the right, Sakuna up front. I would expect there to be changes to this as our starting 11 going forward. De Jong is really pushing it. He's like 34, 35 years old now. So De Jong, we're probably going to look to replace. Torres is in his early 30s. Koundé's in his early 30s. So those two are probably in the process of being replaced as well. We've already got Agostini to come in for Koundé, but we probably need a new left winger. We've got a couple of midfield options for De Jong as well. So I think the main priority is probably to bring in another winger. Fati can obviously go over and play on the left, so it can be a winger who can play on either side. But I think that's probably our summer priority. Maybe a more defensively sound left back than Balde, who does struggle a little bit defensively. He could even conceivably push forward and be the winger, and we could bring in a left back behind him. That's definitely an option that we've got. But I don't think we need to do massive amounts to this squad. Obviously, we have just won the Champions League. It's more about freshening up the areas where the players are getting on a little bit. We're not going to have oodles of money to spend. I think our budget is 44 million. So we're probably looking, unless we have a big sale, at one big signing. We've already got one lined up that we used last year's budget for, who I'll show you in a minute, but one more on top of that. And then that's probably it. I know I've said this before, and then you've looked at the video times. It's been like a 45-minute video and you know something's going on. I genuinely don't think we're going to need to do a lot this summer unless something happens. Gavi won Player of the Year, Sakuna Young Player of the Year. Simon, we know, is signing of the season. Top scorer was Sakuna with 19. Gavi most assists with 15. And Dennis Simon actually setting the club record for clean sheets in a season with 30. Shows we have been defensively sound as well, which is jolly good, if you ask me. We've also had Simon and Aspas both break onto the bench for the all-time best 11. It shows how little this Barcelona team has changed over the years. I mean, that is the all-time best 11 is an 11 that are all there at the start of the game. It's 2031. And not only are the best 11 all there at the start of the game, if you actually go through them and see who's still there now, I mean, Balde is still here. Christensen, actually, I had him at Spurs. He wasn't here, was he? We've got Balde, Araujo and Koundé are still starters at the back. Ter Stegen only retired last summer. De Jong, Gavi and Pedri are still our best midfield three. Fati is still here. Dembele only left when I arrived. And Lewandowski, of course, just became too old. But there's definitely some freshening up that needs to go on here. Continued freshening up. We've started the process. We need to do a little bit more of it. We picked up 4 new social media followers. I've never seen a social media following that high on Football Manager before. But the club are happy that I've grown the reputation, so we get a nice big thumbs up for that. And they are looking next season for us to continue signing players under the age of 23 for the first team. So like I was just saying, my goal is to freshen things up. The board recognise that as the goal as well. So we'll continue signing young players, playing our tiki-taka possession football. I don't get this make the most of set pieces thing. We score loads of them. I don't know what we need to do to not really disappoint the board there. I might try and negotiate that out just so there's not something for them to judge me on that I know I'm not going to meet. They want me to work within the wage budget, sign players to sell for a profit, and maintain the club's status as the most reputable team in Spain, which is quite impressive when not Bayern Munich, when Real Madrid beat us by 19 points in the league. But the job for this season, continue developing. No, they want us to develop the best youth system in the country. So we don't currently have the best youth system in the country. So we need to focus on our own young players. We'll have a look at them in a minute. Challenge for the Champions League and qualify for the Champions League again. So it's actually not until next year that they want us to be winning La Liga, which I think we can probably look to do that this year. But let's try and get this set piece thing gone. I don't know why they give you the option to negotiate on here, because anytime I ever try, they're like, no. Yeah, fine. We'll do set pieces then. I'm not going to, but I mean, I don't know what more I can do. Discuss plans for next season. We are going to, we're going to qualify for the Champions League. Everyone's happy with that. We're going to get to the Champions League final. Gavi's happy with that. No one else is. As long as Gavi's happy, that's all I'm really about. And we're off on our end of season break. Lovely old stuff. So despite this, I mean, most of it is not even my fault, which is rare. And they have given me this to spend, and we have got some spare wage budget. Like I say, we've already got one player on his way in, which is Jose Abad, who is a right back / centre back, looking to freshen up the Koundé position. Obviously, we brought Agostini last year, but I think he's probably our De Jong long-term replacement, and then Abad can be our Koundé long-term replacement. He's coming in for, I forget how much we're paying for him, £56 million that we spent all of last year's pennies. He was at Hertha Berlin, previously Freiburg, and when he was back in Spain, Real Zaragoza. He's never actually played in La Liga, so this is going to be, I mean, similar to what we had with Aspas last year, a Spanish player who's never played in La Liga, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He's nice and quick, quick, physical fullback, which is exactly what I like in my fullbacks, which is why we're quite happy to let Bullet leave. Second summer in a row that I'm going to sell Taylor Bullet. I just don't think he's any good. So he is going to be moving on. So that £39 million needs to get us a winger. If we have a look at what we've got in our squad depth, obviously Simon, I think, is fine. And we've got a goalkeeper with potential in Fontanils. If a 4.5-star goalkeeper were to become available, we'd have a look. And if Simon forces for a move back to the Premier League, we'll obviously have to do something. But if that happens, we're going to have enough money to go and buy Blanco, which will be exactly what we do. Otherwise, I'm happy with Simon. He had a good season. We know Balde, this is what I was saying before about Balde, could potentially move forward and play on the wing if we decide that his defensive frailties need upgrading. He's a 4.5-star player. It would be silly, a 27-year-old 4.5-star player in his absolute prime who's homegrown at the club. Just move. I mean, he'll be perfectly fine on that left wing, even on the right wing, cutting in on that left foot. I mean, he's got everything we would look for in a winger. So it might be that, I know I'm talking about signing a winger now, that we actually sign a left back and push Balde further forward. Obviously, we've got Agostini, who could play there but won't. Pereira is only ever going to be a backup. But centre-back wise, I think we're fine. Araujo, Koundé, who at 32, I'm happy to keep him around for another year. Likewise, I'm happy to let him go now. We've got Abad coming in, but we've got Lazarov. Agostini, of course, can play there as well. If Koundé does leave, we probably need another centre-back, especially as we're going to be playing Abad right back, where for some reason he doesn't show up on here, despite the fact. Can we add him in off the shortlist? Defenders, Abad. Will we then be able to? No, we can't actually sort him. So I have to do it manually. Goodness me, the screen still isn't perfect, is it? But if we move Abad up to, I mean, he's definitely going to be above them. So, okay, what? Yeah, fine. I don't need a tutorial on that. So he's coming in to play there. Lazarov is a centre-back. So we'd potentially need another centre-back, especially if Koundé leaves. Frankie de Jong did sign a contract extension for a year, which allowed us to cut his salary massively. I talked about it before. It's basically, basically getting a free year. He dropped his salary by over £150,000 a week and extended it. And the maths means that basically it's the same as him being out of contract on his old contract this summer. So this next year is basically free. So I'm happy to keep him around on the basis that he's basically free. That being said, he turns, in fact, he's only just turned 34. If Chelsea make a big offer, we probably let him go because it gets his salary out of the way and allows us to just go with Agostini and go all in on him and the likes of Temel and Marku, who we've got knocking around the place. But I don't mind keeping, I don't know why it goes back to that screen. I don't mind keeping de Jong around. Obviously, we've got Gavi, Pedri, La Cruz, Temel. We don't need to do anything to our central midfielders. And then this is where we are a little light on the wings, because obviously Gavi, Pedri, they can play out there, but actually as out-and-out wingers, it even says on there that Balde is considered our second best right winger, which is interesting. I didn't actually know that even my assistant manager was along the same thought process as me with that one. So he's actually ahead of Torres and Fati. Torres, I'm happy to let go. If we, at 31, turns 32 this season, if we can get anywhere near that for him, I'm happy to accept that for Torres. But we do need another winger in. We've got Zaballos, of course, but even if we go Fati, Balde, Zaballos, if Torres is gone and Pedri and Gavi are proper central midfielders, with de Jong potentially leaving, I think we do need another winger. And then up front, we probably need a young up-and-coming striker, because if we're losing Tamang, who's going back to Preston, we've got Sakuna, we've got Aspas. Obviously, Fati and Torres can go up there, but if Torres leaves, he can't. And we've got this guy, Eloy, who came through our youth system, but isn't great, and he's not really quick enough for the kind of striker that I look for. So maybe a striker. Maybe the ideal would be someone who could just come in and replace everything Torres can do and can play striker and on one or both of the wings. Would be a nice purchase. But we don't need to rush into it. Like I say, we've got a very good squad. It's a squad that's just won the Champions League. I don't quite know how it's a squad that's finished so far behind Real Madrid, especially when the media think we're favourites to win the league, even though Real Madrid have already won it. We've got a lot to do to topple them, but I think most of it is done with the players that we've already got, rather than doing lots in the way of transfers. And when it comes to what we've got knocking around amongst the young players, we've got this guy, Gratekos, who's probably going to be moving up into the first team squad this summer. He's a central midfielder who can also play attacking midfield, which we don't use, but I think we probably need to move him up into the first team squad so I don't forget about him as the sub. Have I moved him to the wrong place? I've moved him to the B team, haven't I? Have I? Or is he in the first team squad now? I don't know where I've just put you. Narciss. What squad are you in? That suggests. See that we'll figure it out. Maybe it's not an instant thing when he's in a B team like he is at the moment. And then we've got a couple of other guys who are there or thereabouts. This guy, Oscar Guerrero, is another midfielder who can potentially play up front and is quick. So maybe rather than bringing someone in who can do that, maybe we look to use him. But I think we're probably a year away from wanting to use him. He's only 17. He could do with a little bit more development time. We've got another striker there, but he's another one who's not quick enough. It's just not the kind of striker I'm going to use. And then there's a winger who probably a year too young as well. But we've got some decent options in there. Gratakos definitely needs to move into the first team squad. I'm just going to hit continue to see if he actually does. Is he in now? Gratakos. Yeah, he is in the first team squad now. Excellent. So that's moved him up. Now we're just going to get rid of Bullet, wait for Abad to arrive, and do lots of scouting. And probably wait until the perfect player that we're looking for becomes available. I don't know who he is at the moment. Well, I tried to do my left-back plan, but he didn't want to come. This is the guy I wanted, who, by the way, has joined Chelsea, which was a straightforward decision for him because he feels Chelsea's squad is much stronger than ours. We just won the Champions League. But this is the guy I wanted to bring in. He looks lovely. Either-footed, could play fullback on either side. He would have just slotted in at left-back. We could have pushed Balde forward. Everybody's happy, but no, he's decided to go to Chelsea. So we're now going to plan B, which is a much more expensive option. This is plan B. Endri Osmani, who is a right winger, very, very quick, and would slot in nicely on the right-hand side. He'd be our first choice right winger, which you would need to be for this kind of money. Actually coming from Hertha, which I think is where... Is that where Abad's coming from as well? So we're trying to sign Hertha's entire right-hand side, apparently. Before we do that, they finished 10th in the Bundesliga with these two as their right-hand side. We're not going to worry too much about that. We're going to assume it's fine, and it's their left-hand side must be proper rubbish. But he could come in and play on the right-hand side, and Balde stays forever as a fullback. And then on the left wing, obviously, we've then got Fati. Torres is still here. We haven't sold Torres. We might sell Torres, but we haven't sold Torres yet. So he'd still be here as well. And I mean, it's fine. I would have preferred the half the price fullback option that solves two problems in one go because it gives us the extra winger in Balde and also solves the Balde can't really defend problem. But not much we can do. It's looking at the players we've got in the age range that we're looking for. There's not really any more fullbacks. Certainly not that are affordable. I mean, this guy at Man City would be over 100 million. Thilo Brandenberger isn't really a fullback. He's the centre-back that I wanted to bring in. Also at Hertha. What is going on at Hertha? He's the centre-back I would love to bring in, but we just can't afford to pay his release fee all in one go, and there's just no getting him without the release clause, so we can't get him still, even though I'd really like to bring him in. Perhaps I should go and manage Hertha. I like their entire team. But, yeah, it's slim pickings, as you can see. Let's see if we get this winger. Well, my two boys from Hertha are both in. Endri Osmani, our new winger. He looks quite good, doesn't he? Oh, he's a Barcelona quality player. So he is in. And then his mate's here too, who's somehow only... I need to have a word with my scout. 3 stars? I think that's I'm hoping that's a reputation thing. And he's 3. I know you lot don't like stars. I love the stars. There you go. Those of you who love attributes, have a look at the lovely. Who cares? He's quick. That's the only attribute I cared about. He's going to be up and down that right hand side, and that's exactly what I want him to do. These two combined together on that right hand side, it's going to be beautiful. I don't know how Hertha haven't won the Champions League with those two boys in their team. There you go. Let's give them squad numbers as well. A few of the fringe players have moved out also. And I don't know who this guy is. Yeah, he's 24 and rubbish. He can definitely leave. So with all that being done and the loan players returning to their parent clubs as well, that leaves us with a first team squad of 25 players. As far as I'm concerned, the perfect size first team squad. That's with me moving a couple of the other youngsters up from the B team as well. So if we head into the squad planner now, it's the 1st of July, by the way, as the transfers come in. If we head into the squad planner now and have a look what we've got, still arguably a weakness in goal. I would say not really a weakness in goal. We're fine there. At left back, we've got Balde, we've got Pereira. Santos is no longer here, so we can remove him from our shortlist and then reshuffle that, and that should theoretically remove him. He's not here anymore. There we go. So he's gone. Who's this guy? Andrew. He's not any good. 3 stars of potential. Rubbish. And this guy, 3 stars. So we'll ignore that those two exist. I think they're down in the B team anyway. Agostini's not going to play there, but we've got 2 options at left back. 2 options at left back is good. At right back, Lazarov's not going to play there. I'm not really going to play Agostini there for now, and he's a midfielder now as far as I'm concerned. So our right backs are Koundé and Abad. Bullet has left the club as well. So if we're saying Koundé's a right back, we've got Araujo, Lazarov, Agostini's a midfielder, Abad's a right back. Okay, we maybe needed a centre back. We've only really got 2. Obviously, you can add Koundé in there, and Abad can go in there as well. But that's then going to be dragging Agostini. We've kind of got 7. I guess we've got 7 defenders. We've got 2 there, 2 there, 2 there, plus Agostini makes 7. We need an extra defender, don't we, really? At the base of the midfield, Gavi obviously won't play there. Araujo won't play there. Araujo, by the way, 32, probably needs replacing as well. But we've got 4 defensive midfield players. If anyone wants to make an offer for De Jong, he is available. If anyone wants to, I'm not going to transfer list him, but he is available. Central midfield, Gavi, Pedri, La Cruz, Temel, plus the youngsters. Right wing, obviously we've got new boy Osmani, and then Torres, Fati, Zaballos, I guess, are the other 3 wingers that cover the other sides. Balde could push forward, but as we've just seen, we need him in defence. And then up front, we know we've got the 2 strikers. So we've got a couple of youngsters in there. I think we need it. I'd really love Brandenburger, the 3rd signing of the summer from Hertha, but we need £69 million as a flat amount. We don't have it. So the only way we're going to get that done, we can't sell Koundé or Araujo, even though they're both 32, because then we need to sign 2 defenders. So I'm thinking Ferran Torres or De Jong. But De Jong is still one of the best players at the club. Torres, I think, is the obvious one. If Chelsea want to give us 40 million for Torres, which we can then use on Brandenburger, and then try and find a young attacker from Brazil or somewhere. There'll be one. There'll be one around that we can pick up for like 10 million. Then I think that's done then. But do I transfer this Torres? I'm just going to offer him out and see if Chelsea come back with an offer. Potentially a risk because he might get grumpy, but we just don't really need him. We've got this guy, Oscar Guerrero, who we've just brought into the first team squad as well. We've got some good options. Well, immediately, Chelsea coming in with just what the doctor ordered, a £43 million offer for Ferran Torres. Yes, please. We're going to immediately go and make an offer for Brandenburger at 69 million, which is his release clause, unless we can get him for less. Can we get him for less? Nope. So his release clause, 69 million, boom. And then that'll leave us with, like I say, a little bit left for a young up-and-coming attacker who's not going to need to play a lot of games because we've got Zaballos, we've got Fati, we've got Pedri and Gavi who can both play out wide. We've obviously got the new boy in Osmani. We've got 2 good strikers. We just need someone who is happy to be 3rd or 4th choice in all those positions, but will end up awesome. I'm not asking for a lot. Well, it all kind of happened all at once there. Ferran Torres has gone to Chelsea for £43 million, which allowed me to finally get my man Thilo Brandenburger, the 22-year-old German international, 6'5" centre-back, has joined us for £69 million, our 3rd signing of the summer from Hertha Berlin. I mean, we've certainly financed them for a summer of spending. Fingers crossed they go and spend lots of money and then provide me with some more players for a future year. But that did leave us with a little bit of money left over. But in the meantime, Liverpool came in and offered £31 million for Marcos Pereira, our backup left back, who only started one game for us last year. It allowed us to turn a profit on him, so it seemed like a bit of a no-brainer. So we had to find a new left back, which is this guy, Ivani Amoferi, 24-year-old Dutch left back. Preston were actually in for him. Sorry, Preston. Had to pull rank and take him from you. Just another guy who primarily we wanted because of his pace. I like a fullback with a lot of pace, a lot of stamina, who can just get up and down and overlap. And ultimately, he's going to sit on the bench and be a backup for Balde, and he looks absolutely fine for doing that. And that left us with a little bit of leftover spensies that we could go and get the young forward that I mentioned. This is kind of the Ferran Torres replacement in the squad, Jawad Ngamba, who is primarily a fast striker, but also able to play on either wing. So this is exactly what we wanted, someone who can cover the entire front three. He's 6'2", quick, powerful, good in the air. Okay, he's only got 10 for heading, but what we really care about is jumping reach when we say good in the air. So again, everything I would look for in a forward, and he can cover across that front three for us. And the only other thing that happened is Marku, the young English wonder kid that we brought in last year, wanted to go out on loan, so he's gone to Valencia on loan for the season. So all of that leaves us with still £35 million left. So we've done all those transfers, and we've still got roughly the same amount of money that we started the video with. A little bit of spare wage budget as well. But if we now head over to, firstly, the squad size, let's just move Marku down to the under-19s just to get him out of the way because he's out on loan for the season. So squad size is still 25 people. That golden number that we were looking for from our squad size, perfect squad size for us. But if we now shuffle around and have a look at what we've got, we've all of a sudden got more depth in key areas. So we've got Brandenberger in as an additional defender. So now as centre-backs, we've got Araujo, Brandenberger, Lazarov, two elite centre-backs at 22 and 24 in Lazarov and Brandenberger, with Araujo and Koundé still there as more experienced options. We've also not had to get rid of Frankie de Jong, so he's still there as an option at the base of the midfield. At right back, obviously Koundé can play there, Agostini can play there, Abad, of course, came in this summer to play there as well. We've got more strength in depth even at left back than we had before, with Balde, but Agostini and Brandenberger can both play there. They're both considered elite players at 21 and 22, and Amaferi can obviously cover there as well. And we've not really weakened the midfield or the attack by moving Gratakos up into the first team squad. He fills the space vacated by Marku. And then, yes, Ferran Torres has moved on, but we've brought in an improvement on the right-hand side in Endri Osmani. And then we've got Ngamba, who can cover on either of those wings, but also cover at centre forward as well to replace Jonathan Tamang. So I think that is a vastly improved squad in some very important key areas. The media somehow think that Real Madrid have gone ahead of us off the back of those transfers, so the media are really impressed with them. We've got another £35 million to spend. There's nothing I particularly feel like I need. We can no longer go and get Blanco, because while I was sniping Preston for that left back, I noticed that Zelmar Blanco has joined Liverpool for £94 million. So yet another one confirmed as an excellent signing for Preston, and they're now reinvesting their money and basically trying to stop their slide. They're very much a mid-table Premier League team, which I'm sure they'll be happy. Any Preston fan will take mid-table Premier League team for the rest of your life, I'm sure. But yeah, Blanco is now gone. So that's Blanco and Simon have both left, leaving Marek Rodak as Preston's current goalkeeper, which isn't ideal, really. Poor old Preston. They've got a very, very large squad as well. But of course, they've got Tamang back now, so hopefully he can go on and blossom. But I think I'm pretty much happy. It's still only the 20th of July, so we've got 2 or 3 weeks before the season starts, a month nearly until the league season starts. So there's always the chance that something else could happen. There are clubs interested in some of our players. If we get an offer from Chelsea for de Jong, we'd probably take it. If Arsenal come in for Koundé, we'd probably take it. We've already turned down an offer for La Cruz from Manchester City, I think it was. I'd like to keep him around, but if we get a big offer from Juventus for Zeballos, we probably let him go. And regardless of anything else, I guess we have to keep Simon now, because we are now back in that same situation I've been trying to avoid all series long of goalkeepers are a nightmare to find. We've now got one of the good ones. And as you can see, it's slim pickings for a replacement. They've all gone somewhere now. So I think Simon becomes our forever goalkeeper. We need to keep him here no matter what. So hopefully that's the squad pretty much done. Nothing stressful needs to happen now. Thank you. Right, we have squeezed in a couple more. Firstly, we've got this guy, Leonardo Antunes, who's going to be joining us in January. 17 at the moment, so couldn't join us until his 18th birthday. He is a 6'4" Brazilian centre-back. I don't think there's any more information you need there, really. 11.75 million coming in from Palmeiras, joins us in January. He'll be one of 2 non-EU players in the squad. We're allowed 3. One of the others is another guy who we've just signed, John Watt, who is an 18-year-old Scottish striker slash winger slash midfielder, just another guy who can cover in all of these attacking positions, got lots of potential, nice and quick, was nice and cheap. Hadn't actually remembered that Scotland isn't in the EU when I signed him, else I probably wouldn't have wasted a non-EU spot on him, but we brought him in from Celtic just to make sure that we don't fall light in attacking pace. He's basically this season's Tamang, effectively. And then lastly, we got Salvatore Boattini, who's a 22-year-old Italian defensive midfielder, basically the squad spot replacement for Marco, who's out on loan for the season. At 22, he's got 52 caps for the Italian under-21 side, which must be some kind of record. That's absolute insanity. 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. Has played over 100 games for Inter in Serie A, so not to be sniffed at all. Been very much a bench player for them, just on the cusp of their squad. Although he's played 100 matches, I don't think he's even started 10 for them. But lots and lots of substitute appearances. And, I mean, he's got 20 aggression as a defensive midfielder. So personally, I don't see how that could possibly ever go wrong at any point. It'll be fine. And that really is now completed squad. We do look a little bloated. We've got 27 players in there now, and you know I'd normally like 25. However, we've got like a 17-year-old who could just as easily drop back down to the under-19s or go out on loan. He is on the loan list. And we've got 3 goalkeepers in that number. And we've got quite a few, in fact, 2 18-year-olds. So Guerrero, and of course Watt that we've just signed. Either of them could go out on loan. Guerrero's on the loan list as well. Graticos at 20 is still very young as well. So we've got probably, I would suggest, this guy and this guy, the 17 and the 18-year-old, possibly even Watt as well, could all go out on loan in the next month before the transfer window closes, just to bring us back down to a nice, comfortable, manageable 25-man squad. I really do think we're done. We've got no money left. We kind of need to be done now, unless something bonkers happens. Can we just move that down there to get rid of all the nasty red? Of course we can. Do the media think we're going to win the league yet off the back of that? No. Smashing. Well, you don't see a lot of this in Football Manager, so when it happens, I figured I should show it to you. We've got 2 changes in the club rivalries. Firstly, we have now developed a rivalry with Valencia based on the fact that we play each other every year. We actually only finished 1 place apart from each other last year, and presumably also a tribute to the fact that it's Barcelona versus Valencia that I'm going to see this weekend for the match day vlog. But simultaneously with that, our rivalry with Sevilla has faded, basically because Sevilla are no longer considered a top team in Spain. Interestingly, our head-to-head table with Sevilla, they're much closer to us than Valencia are. Valencia have only beaten us once in 21 occasions, whereas Sevilla have 6 wins. But last season, they finished down in 13th place, so not really considered rivals anymore. And that's reflected on the rivalries on here. So Valencia have been added as a competitive rivalry. Sevilla no longer showing as rivals. So this stuff is dynamic. It doesn't change very often. For 2 to change at the same time, I've never seen that happen before. But there you go. Rivalries do actually change dynamically. Who'd have thought? And that brings us to the end of our summer, or at least the football matches are starting. There's still deadline day and stuff coming up. We have just turned down an offer for Araujo from Juventus, which I mean, it wasn't enough money. £18 million, we're not going to be able to replace him. He is out of contract at the end of the season, but I mean, I'm happy to just keep him here and let him run down his contract. It would take a lot more than 18 million to make me let him go now. I'm probably also not going to renew his contract because of how much money he's on, but we keep him around as an option because we've not got Antunes coming in until January. So I think we've only just got to the point where we're fully stocked on centre backs. We don't want to have to go with 3 again because it's just a little bit risky. We'll end up having to loan someone in from West Ham again for the season, which wouldn't be ideal. But this is what our new look team looks like. So Osmani in, Brandenburger in. Other than that, very similar to the team that ended last season. But I think we've strengthened the 2 big weaknesses that we had. We were a little bit light in the wide areas and we were a little bit light at centre-back. We've fixed both of those problems. We have still got De Jong in the team, but obviously we have plenty of young options who can take his place as and when he starts to decline, which he just hasn't done yet. I mean, he's been doing a 7.1 something for the last 4 years. And that's pretty much as good as he's ever been in his career. He had those 2 really, really good seasons where he got 14 assists and was averaging in the 7.2s. But realistically, he's still playing exactly the same level he's played his entire Barcelona career. So we don't need to worry about Frenkie de Jong just yet. He's another one who, like Araujo, like Koundé, they're all out of contract at the end of the season. And I'm not that worried if we just let them walk because with all 3 of them leaving, I think that would be... Hold on, how much is Koundé on? If I can find him. Yeah, between the 3 of them, you're looking at nearly £1 million a week in wages. That's quite a lot of money. That really is quite a lot of money. But we'll leave that there. We'll play this European Super Cup game against Arsenal tomorrow. And hopefully our new look team will look very snazzy. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.